It is that time of the year again. Well, it's way past that time of the year again, but it is Oscar night tonight. And what more fitting time to say what the best movies of the year were than Oscar night? And I do have to make the disclaimer, this is my list. My list. I'm not wrong for this list. You can disagree. I'm not wrong. This is how I feel. These are not the best movies of the year. These are my favorites. I did not see every movie, obviously, that came out in 2011, but I saw, I think, a very, very good amount. And I think I saw the important ones. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 10, Drive, with Ryan Gosling and Albert Brooks. Ryan Gosling is just the king of brooding. Like, he is like, if Robert Pattinson could act, I feel like he'd be like Ryan Gosling. Because there are scenes in this movie when Carey Mulligan will just be like, "So, where are you from?" I live here. Gives a great performance. There's also times when he has to really emote, and he does a great job. I liked his performance more than I liked Albert Brooks. People were saying, "Oh, he should have got nominated for Best Supporting Actor." I wasn't that impressed by his performance. There were aspects of this movie that I didn't like. I feel like it's overrated. It won the Reviewer Award for Best Picture. I don't get that, but at the same time, it is a very good movie and worthy of my top 10. Number 9, Warrior. People are going crazy about Nick Nolte's performance. He got nominated for Best Supporting Actor, rightfully so. He did a great job. Nobody's giving Tom Hardy any attention at all. I would give him the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. I just thought he gave an amazing performance. He was like, imagine Christian Bale's character in The Fighter, but huge and without the charisma. He gave an awesome performance. Joel Edgerton's really good. He does carry the movie well, but he is overshadowed by the other two. Cool fighting sequences. It does run a little bit long, but it's an incredible story. For a true story, it really is something that is perfect for a movie. Tom Hardy, great actor. Can't wait to see him as Bane in Dark Knight Rises. Gotta fix that voice, though. So expect one of us in the wreckage room when Gotham is ashes. Yeah, you have my permission to die. Moneyball. I got a pair of money balls right here. I almost feel bad for Brad Pitt because people just think that just because he's good looking, he's not a good actor. Because people come out of these movies are like, whoa, Brad Pitt gave a really good performance. What a surprise. Brad Pitt's been giving great performances for 15 years. That guy's one of our best actors. Philip Hoffmore Seaman gave a really good performance. I'm so happy to see Jonah Hill be nominated, and I hope that he does give more great performances, but I just feel that this is a role of a lifetime for him. Number 7. You hear that boom, ba-da-doom, ba-da-doom, I got that Super 8. I would not nominate this movie for Best Director, Best Actor, Actress, or Screenplay, but as far as just personal enjoyment, there was something about this movie that I just loved. The characters reminded me so much of me. They loved movies, and they wanted to make movies, but they just did the best they could with what they had, and I can relate to that. I mean, geez, come on, look at these videos, God. But let's face it, we're not going to see a sequel to Cloverfield or a prequel, but at this point, I don't think we need to, because this, if you take this as a sequel, or as a prequel, to Cloverfield, it pretty much fills all the gaps. So, Super 8, really great. Number 6, The Artist. Of the movies nominated, it does deserve that Best Picture Oscar, you know? Gotta go for the gold. Make it rain awards in here, ho! It's so clever, and it's fun to watch. You come out with a smile on your face. Really great performances. Once again, of the actors nominated, I would like to see Jean win Best Actor, and Berenice Bejon win Best Supporting Actress, and Michael Hazababy Rubber Baby Buggy Boppers win Best Director. Number 5 is a movie that no one has talked about. It was dropped in the middle of March. It was number 1 at the box office with like 25 million. I have not seen it on anybody's list. It got pretty good reviews, but nothing amazing. And that is The Limitless, with Bradley Cooper and Robert De Niro. What a surprise this movie was. Watching the movie, it was like the first time I watched Fight Club. It was like, wow! What? This movie has such an amazing visual style to it, and it's carried by the performance of Cooper. It's like Fight Club if you didn't have the Brad Pitt character. Still a great movie, just not the masterpiece that Fight Club was. On my ballot, I nominated Bradley Cooper for Best Actor. I really did think that he gave just a phenomenal performance. The script was so witty, so clever. I had to watch it twice, because the first time I watched it, I'm like, well, was that really as good as I thought it was? And I watched it again, and yes, it's so cool. Number 4. Movie that everybody came out of saying, whoa, what a surprise, I thought that would be terrible. I didn't. I still thought it would be good, and even I had my expectations exceeded, and that is Rise of the Planet of the Apes at number 4. There's some really ballsy filmmaking here. The fact that, they let the filmmakers make Caesar, the ape, the main character, is a very, very gutsy move. I mean, it could have been terrible, but it's led by the performance by Andy Serkis, who's incredible in this movie, and I think did deserve an Academy Award nomination. I knew he wouldn't get it, but when you have actors like James Franco and Freida Pinto, and you make them supporting characters, even though they do give great performances, when you make that main character, Caesar, you're really taking a risk. But by making that character such an interesting, amazing character, easily the best character I've seen on film in a while, it makes the movie totally work, and it gives the movie an emotional connection that seems to be missing from a lot of summer movies nowadays. I really want there to be a sequel to this movie, and I'm sure there will be, but if they make it with the same tender care that they made with this one, the sky is the limit. Rise of the Planet of the Apes is bananas. Get it? Because they're apes. Number 3. These last 3 films are very different, but at the same time, they're very sentimental. Number 3 is The Muppets. Alright, before you stop your video and write down your comments, let me explain. I grew up on The Muppets. I grew up on Sesame Street. I grew up on everything created by Jim Henson. Somewhere up in the clouds, Jim Henson watched the most recent movie, The Muppets. And when it was over, he smiled and applauded at the end, because this is just such a perfect representation of everything Jim Henson created. The ensemble of characters is so endearing. Kermit, Fozzie Bear, Gonzo, Miss Piggy, all these great Muppets are back on the big screen. It doesn't cop out. There is one, fart joke, but it is funny. There's no stupid toilet humor. It doesn't talk down to children. It tells a real story about growing up and about not letting go of what you really loved as a kid. When Toy Story 3 came out, everybody my age, they forgot it was a kid's movie. They came out and were like, Toy Story 3, I can't wait to go see it. I really wish people would do that with The Muppets, because this is an incredible film. And Jason Segel wrote the script. He gave a great performance, but his writing, it's so obvious that he cared about these characters, and he wanted to make a great movie. He wanted to make something Jim Henson would be proud of. And if Jim Henson could talk to him right now, he would say how proud he was of what all these people have done with these Muppet characters. This is almost a perfect movie. And as far as kids' movies go, it is a perfect movie. Number 2. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. 10 years worth of movies. I wanted to have a reward at the end. I didn't want to make it to the end of the rainbow and not have there be a sassy leprechaun and a pot of gold. I've always kind of said some negative things about the Harry Potter series. I recently rewatched pretty much all of them. I think they're all at least 8s out of 10. I think the lowest one is an 8. And I think that's the first Deathly Hallows. But this one more than makes up for it, because this movie it's such a crowd pleaser, but at the same time, it's not cheesy crowd pleasing. Okay, a perfect example of how to try to manipulate the crowd into thinking that you're being badass is by having, like, the scene in Transformers 2 when Megan Fox is driving the car and she just goes, "Kiss this bitch," and and drives the robot right into a pole. But in this movie, it was like, you actually cared when people were doing things. When people were dying, you cared. When characters were triumphant, you cared. That's how you establish crowd-pleasing moments. You don't do it by having them say stupid things. Now, to be fair, Mrs. Weasley did have one badass line, but come on. You're insane if you didn't at least smile when that happened. I know I did. Watching this movie at midnight with a crowd worth of people was an experience I'll never forget. I've bonded with so many people over this series, and if you're somebody who's like, I don't like Harry Potter, it's stupid, I feel bad for you, because you've missed out. This is our generation of movies, and the great thing about movies, it's not like, no girlfriend, toys, stuffed animals. These movies are always going to be there. They can never be erased. They're always going to be there for our enjoyment. And I'll show them to my kids will show them to their kids. These films are classics. This is the Star Wars of our generation, and this movie proved it, because this is the perfect capper to an incredible series of movies. The characters are great. Neville, it was so nice to see the character Neville finally, break out of his shell. He's a total badass in this movie. Harry's great. Alan Rickman should have gotten some recognition for his performance as Snape. I mean, just to take a 5-minute scene where how you feel about a character, that is incredible storytelling, and that's incredible acting. If I had to say anything to the makers of this franchise, it would be thank you. Thank you for this amazing series. Thank you, Harry Potter. Number 1. Billy Crystal is hosting the Oscars tonight, and that is the only reason I'm watching it, because as far as I'm concerned, the fact that this movie isn't nominated for Best Picture, is about as criminal as anything the Academy Awards have ever done. My number 1 movie of the year, without a doubt, is 50-50. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I've always liked. I always thought he was a good actor. Watching him in this movie, from not just being a good actor, he's one of my favorite actors and one of our finest actors. He should have swept every award show, should have won the Academy Award for this movie. Just for the driving scene alone, he gives an astonishing performance. Seth Rogen, for people who say Seth Rogen can't act, baloney, because he was amazing in this movie. He's so funny, and he does have some really good dramatic scenes with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Bryce Dallas Howard is great. Anna Kendrick is great. Angelica Houston, really surprised she hasn't gotten any recognition for her performance. She did an amazing job. Burt Ward did a great job. I feel like The King's Speech. The Artist, that would have won the Academy Award 50 years ago. Not saying that they're bad movies, I'm just saying they're not relevant. And I don't think that they deserve Best Movie of the Year honors. 50-50 is a movie that is relevant. It's about a topic that people are talking about constantly. But it doesn't sacrifice its storytelling. It doesn't have some crazy moral message to it. We know cancer sucks. We don't need a 2-hour movie to say cancer sucks. We get it. It sucks. We know. This movie just got to me. If you have had a friend or a family member who's been affected by this disease, which 90% of people have, you are made of stone if you don't cry in the last 20 minutes of this movie. I was bawling at the last 20 minutes, just because you felt so bad for this guy, but it wasn't in a way that was manipulative. It just told a real human story. But a lot of that has to do with the screenplay, written by Seth Rogen. He just did a great job of establishing these people as humans. They weren't super witty people who said obnoxious things. They were humans. And I really wish more people would have gone out to see it. It's relevant, it's heartfelt, and it is astonishing. It would have been the best movie of last year, it's the best movie of this year, it's the best movie I've seen since The Hurt Locker, and you know how I feel about that. This is about as perfect as movies come. Is the reason I love movies, the reason I go to see movies, is in hopes that I will see a movie like 50-50. This is a perfect film, and it's my favorite movie of 2011. Overall, I did like 2011. I think 2012 has the potential to be an incredible year. Going out with a bang. Alright. 50-50 is my number 1. I'll see you guys later. Have fun. Peace and happiness.